As the campaigns head into the final stretch of the election, President Trump is still trailing in the fight for his second term. You can see it here on our battleground tracker map. Democratic nominee Joe Biden is leading in states worth 279 electoral votes. If he were to win those states without any of the toss-ups, that would be enough to put him into the White House. CBS News Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto, joins me now. Hi there, Anthony. So at this point in the race, how much room is there for things to change over the next 20 days?
Hey, Elaine. Well, look, on an individual voter level, frankly, there doesn't seem to be much, at least based on what voters are telling us. I mean, we're approaching over 90% of people who say that they're strong in their support and they've made up their minds. But where I think there is uncertainty is in the balloting process, in the voting process. And that's more specific than just saying it comes down to turnout. Of course, we don't know exactly who's going to show up, though we try to estimate that. What I mean is, we've seen this year with Democrats heavily saying they're going to vote early and that they're going to vote by mail. Well, we're already seeing that start to emerge. Will they do enough of that? And then for Republicans, they tell us that they want to vote on Election Day. Okay, will they show up? Will they be able to stand in long lines if long lines emerges? In the middle of a pandemic, will there be changes to polling places? Maybe those lines get longer. Maybe people have to go someplace different than they're used to going in order to vote. All of those are questions that I think impact the turnout question, and that's where I think there's a lot of uncertainty still left, Elaine.
Well, Anthony, help us understand how the race has moved over time and where President Trump needs to shift things to ensure a victory.
Okay, so you mentioned at the top that electoral vote count, which we will keep reminding everybody, that's what decides the presidency. I've got it on the board here, and if you look at this map, one of the things that is different from 4 years ago starts in the Sun Belt, where a lot of states, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, are toss-ups, but the president won them 4 years ago. So I'm going to do a hypothetical here, okay? And I'm going to give the president those states just to show you what that does for his electoral college count if he wins them all, okay? I'll give him back North Carolina, etc., even though these are toss-ups at best. Now he gets a little closer to Joe Biden. And then, and this is sort of a deja vu with 2016, we see the Midwest become this focal point battleground. And we go and we look up here at Michigan, at Wisconsin, and at Pennsylvania, as well as Ohio. All of those states are, at least some of them, if not most of them, the president then has to flip those as well. And right now, they're leaning towards Joe Biden. So he'd have to go and, flip a Michigan back again to red. That'd get him closer. A Wisconsin, that'd get him, up closer as well. But the problem for him at the moment is that Joe Biden is leading those states. So again, we'll have to see who shows up or if things can change in the next 20 days. But that's your overall map. He's got to hold the states he won in 2016 and then go and start changing the direction of some of those states in the upper Midwest, Elaine.
And Anthony, we know that more than 14 million votes have already come in, many in important battleground states. Is it too early to tell who that early turnout favors?
It seems to be favoring the Democrats. Now, I will caution everybody not to read too much into that, A, because it's still early in the early voting process, and also because, as we've reported, Republicans tell us that they're going to show up on Election Day, and they've reversed that kind of pattern before. They did it in 2016. But, just for an example, let's dive into Georgia, where there's early voting already going on, where our CBS News analysis of the early voting there shows that Democrats are running ahead of Republicans by about 2 to 1. So that's when we take the folks who have voted early, we see the patterns on the voter files publicly available, and we see the long lines in a lot of those places where people seem to be eager to go and vote. And that tells you that Democrats have tried to get a jump on this. Well, okay, over the next 20 days, we'll see that pattern emerge, we'll follow it, and I suspect by the time we get to election night, we may say, okay, we know how many votes have already been cast, and we know pretty much how many votes of the remaining people who haven't voted each candidate needs in order to win. It'll certainly be an interesting dynamic that we haven't seen before because most of the votes this year, Elaine, will be cast before November 3rd.
All right, fascinating year. Anthony Salvanto. Anthony, thank you so much.